I don't like when people break clubs. I don't like when people beat up the golf course, because we deal with it, and I think the breaking clubs makes us look very, very spoiled. I try my absolute best not to do it, and when it does happen, as far as slamming a tee box, I'm very upset with myself.
Max Homa's press conference yesterday at the RBC Heritage, and he did it without once mentioning Sergio Garcia's name. But here's what makes this story more than just one player criticizing another. Homa did not deliver a clean takedown from a position of perfect innocence. He admitted his own history. He acknowledged his own failures. And then he still looked directly at what happened on the second tee at Augusta National and called it exactly what it was. That combination, honesty about himself plus clarity about the bigger problem, is what separates this from a typical media soundbite. This is a player who has thought seriously about what it means to behave badly on a golf course, and this week he decided the moment was too important to stay quiet. If you love honest, no-filter golf conversations that go behind the biggest moments and meltdowns, hit that like button right now and subscribe. Let's go back to Sunday first, because the full picture of what Garcia did matters more than the headline version.
It's the final round of the 2026 Masters, 9:45 in the morning. Sergio Garcia, the 2017 champion, had already bogeyed the first hole and was way out of contention, 16 shots behind the leaders. Nothing to play for except basic pride. His drive on the par 5 second hole found the fairway bunker. Not ideal, but nothing catastrophic for a veteran who knows Augusta National better than most. What happened next was shocking. Garcia slammed his driver into the teeing ground twice, ripping out large chunks of the pristine Augusta turf right in front of the gallery, his caddy, and officials. The grass flew. Then he stormed over to a simple water cooler sitting just off the tee, the kind every player and caddy uses for a quick drink during the round. In one violent swing, he smashed his Callaway driver into it with so much force that the club head snapped clean off the shaft with a loud crack. He bent down, yanked the broken head free by hand, and left the pieces behind.
In roughly 10 seconds of raw anger, Garcia had damaged part of the course and destroyed his driver. Golf rules say you can't replace a club broken in anger, so he played the rest of the final round at Augusta, one of the most driver-dependent courses in major championship golf, without his longest club. He somehow made par on that hole. Then came one of the strangest sights of the entire tournament. Garcia picked up Jon Rahm's bag and carried it down the fairway while Rahm's caddy dealt with a bunker. The crowd actually applauded when Rahm took his bag back. For a brief second, the tension turned almost comedic. But the comedy didn't last. 2 holes later on the 4th tee, Jeff Yang, chairman of the Masters Competition Committee, walked straight up to Garcia and delivered something this tournament had never needed before: an official code of conduct warning, the first one ever issued on the course during the Masters. Garcia was asked afterward what Yang had said. His 3-word reply was cold: "I'm not going to tell you." He finished with a 75 and ended the tournament at 8 over par, 52nd out of the 54 players who made the cut. 2 days later, on Tuesday, Garcia posted a formal apology. He said he regretted his actions, that they had no place in the game, and that he respected everything Augusta National stands for. It was a more complete apology than his immediate post-round shrug when he told reporters he wasn't super proud of it, but sometimes it happens. The apology didn't end the conversation, it opened a new one. And on Wednesday at the RBC Heritage, Max Homa walked right into it during his pre-tournament press conference. He never said Garcia's name once. He didn't need to. Everyone in the room and everyone watching knew exactly who and what he was talking about. Homa said he doesn't like when players break clubs. He doesn't like when players beat up the golf course because the rest of the field has to play it afterward. Then came the line that has been shared thousands of times: breaking clubs makes golfers look very, very spoiled. He didn't stop there. He admitted he tries his absolute best not to do it. He gets upset with himself when his emotions get the better of him, because golfers are incredibly lucky to play this game at the level they do. He said it's a bad look. He even acknowledged that he says a lot of bad words on the course and tries to keep them away from kids in the crowd. And then he added the part that gave his entire statement real weight and credibility. He openly admitted that he himself had been caught throwing a club during the 2025 PGA Championship. He wasn't standing at that podium as some perfect player lecturing a colleague. He was speaking as someone who knows exactly how that temptation feels, who has given into it before, and who has clearly thought hard about how it looks from the outside. That honesty is what made Homa's comments land so powerfully. If you enjoy this kind of real, thoughtful conversation about the human side of professional golf, the good, the bad, and the moments that actually matter, make sure you're subscribed. Homa's point about damaging the golf course is the one that cuts deepest. When Garcia tore up the second tee and smashed that cooler, he wasn't just having a private meltdown, he was affecting a shared space. Every player and group coming behind him had to stand on that damaged tee box. The cooler he destroyed held water for caddies and players all day long. His anger had real consequences for people who had nothing to do with his bad drive. Homa put it simply and correctly. Beating up the course is probably the worst version of this behavior, because everyone else has to deal with it. The broader context around Garcia makes Homa's words hit even harder. This wasn't a one-off from a player with a spotless record. Garcia has a well-documented history of emotional outbursts, including being disqualified from the 2019 Saudi International for deliberately damaging greens. He had notable confrontations with rules officials before joining LIV Golf. Sunday at Augusta gave that pattern its biggest stage yet, complete with the first ever on-course code of conduct warning in Masters history. Garcia entered 2026 with a relatively quiet LIV season, 1 top 10 in 5 starts, his Fireballs team sitting 8th out of 13. He scraped into the Masters weekend by a single shot and had nothing left to play for on Sunday. Whatever frustration had been building all year boiled over on that second tee in the most public way possible. Homa's framing gives that frustration its proper name: spoiled. Not passionate, not fiery, spoiled. The word carries real weight. It suggests someone who has lost perspective on how lucky they are to play this game at the highest level, on the most beautiful stages in the world. It suggests someone who has forgotten that the golf course isn't their personal property to damage when things don't go their way. Garcia apologized. The Masters issued its warning. Homa said what so many players and fans were already thinking. The full picture is now complete. And somewhere inside Augusta National, the men in the green jackets are quietly deciding whether one code of conduct warning was enough, or whether the elephant in the room still needs a real answer. If you want more honest, no-filter conversations about the stories and moments that actually shape professional golf, make sure you're subscribed. We're pushing hard toward 10,000 real golf fans who appreciate when someone connects the dots most coverage misses. So tell me in the comments, do you agree with Max Homa that breaking clubs and damaging the course makes golfers look very, very spoiled? Or do you think emotions sometimes get the better of even the best players? Reply with spoiled or emotions happen and explain why. I read every comment and reply to the strongest ones. One more thing before you go. This whole situation shows how quickly a single moment on the most famous stage in golf can force everyone to look in the mirror. Passion is part of the game, but so is respect for the course, the fans, and the traditions that make the Masters special. Homa reminded us of that this week, honestly and without pointing fingers by name. If this video gave you a new perspective on what happened at Augusta, share it with a friend who loves golf drama and the real conversations behind it. I'll be back soon with the next big story that actually matters.